Currently, right now, we're in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and right down the street from me, I'm going to show you the location of where over 100 years ago, a very violent train explosion happened, killing upwards of 50 people. It was an explosion that decimated this town, but as resilient as many Oklahomans could be, they bounced right back from that horrible explosion. So I'm going to take you to the site of where that happened, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Ardmore, Oklahoma. So this is the railway depot here in Ardmore, Oklahoma. So going back to September 26th of 1915, there was a train coming from Texas going up north towards Oklahoma City that was carrying about 250 barrels of casing head gasoline. Basically, casing head gasoline is natural gas. They call it that because it's developed from the casing head or the top of an oil well. Natural gas is pretty much what it is. It was used in many vehicles over 100 years ago. As a matter of fact, at that time, Oklahoma had about 40 refineries just to produce this type of natural gas. However, it was very dangerous to produce this gas. It was very volatile. Now, I don't know how, but when they transported this casing head gasoline, the ambient temperature outside had to be 50 degrees or below. So when you were transporting this casing head gasoline in one of these rail cars, if the temperature was going to go up, they would have a valve like you see up top right there. They had some kind of a special valve. It's called a pop-off valve. So if the temperature outside got too warm, the gas would start expanding, and the pop-off valve would go off, and it would alert the employees that there was a problem and that they couldn't take the train any further, that they would have to either fix the problem or whatever it is that they would do to get the gas back under a cooler temperature. So this train stayed overnight here in Ardmore, going in from the 26th of September to the next day, the 27th. So on the 27th of September 1915, one of the train conductors noticed that pop-off valve was open and that gasoline liquid vapors were spilling out of the top of the car. And you can see kind of like the gas, because it had that weird kind of vapor look. And it was going all throughout the downtown area here in Ardmore. So the train conductor, he called the refinery where the shipment was supposed to go to, and he says, hey, we can't move any further because the pop-off valve went out and there's liquid gas pouring out all over the streets here in Ardmore. And they said, well, come on, just, we'll fix it when we get there. He's like, no, I'm not moving the train. I'm not moving the train. So what happened was they had a representative from the refinery come down here to, I don't know, maybe remedy the problem, fix the problem. His name was Ira Wood. So you got natural gas fumes just coming out and just blanketing this whole entire downtown area that I'm in right now. And casing head gasoline, very volatile. That's why a lot of times we don't use that type of gasoline anymore because how dangerous it is. So he comes over here and he's on top of the rail car and he's looking at the pop-off valve. Now, this happened over 100 years ago, so we don't really know exactly what happened or how the explosion started. But one of the main reasons why they didn't want to take the train any further was because there was an asphalt plant a few miles up that they knew that when you're making asphalt, that you're making it with very high heat, and they were worried that an open flame from the asphalt manufacturer would light up the whole town. So the train sat right in this very yard right behind me. Now, around 2:30 p.m., they don't know what sparked the explosion. A possible theory is that when Ira was inspecting the top of the rail car, that he had a hammer and he was hammering something, and had a spark from the hammer ignited the whole place. But let me tell you, when that spark happened, whatever the spark, how it ignited, this whole area, the loudest explosion many of these people ever heard, if they lived, occurred here. It's estimated that the explosion was 400 times more powerful than the explosion that happened in the Oklahoma City bombing. And in that instant, at least 43 people died, as many as 50. Different articles online say different things, but you basically had practically 50 people that were in this same area that I was in right now, just vaporized. They didn't even know what hit them. And it caused a mass amount of damage. This is the only thing that I can see, just me being out here, that is left as a reminder of to the destruction that took place. This locomotive engine right here is called the Mercy train, and this engine pulled many volunteers and many supplies here from Texas up to Ardmore to help in the recovery efforts. And the engine was refurbished and brought here I think a few years ago. And however, it doesn't say anything. There's no plaque that I seen. Could be one in that train station right there, I don't know, but it's closed right now. This is the only thing that is left as a reminder of what took place on that very horrible and tragic date. Now, right next to the Mercy train, you got downtown Ardmore right here, and all of those buildings that were up at that time within at least a 3-block square radius all received a massive amount of damage. Now, I really can't tell if any of these buildings are any of the original buildings that were standing the day of the explosion, but I'm gonna guess that many of them are not, and they received such damage that they were basically rebuilt. So I'm pretty sure some of these buildings, it's still the same structure. They probably just look quite a bit different, because whatever pictures I was able to see, I couldn't match up any of the buildings in the pictures with what they look like now. So, you know, quite possibly, you know, that building right there was an original building, but because of such damage was happened to the building, that they probably just kind of rebuilt the front or side of it, so you really wouldn't be able to tell that this is one of the original buildings that suffered in that explosion. This is the Colston building right here. This building was built about 3 years after the explosion. This was the first attempt anyways of Ardmore trying to come back from that explosion, and this would have been at that time the first skyscraper that they built here in Ardmore, Oklahoma. I was talking to one of the guys right there that owns that pizza place right there. I asked him if he thinks that any of these buildings that are up now were up then, and he has no idea, but he personally doubts it, and so do I. I don't think any of these buildings within at least 2 blocks are still standing. I just, unless they were just leveled to damn near the ground and they just kind of rebuilt it from that going up, which is what I'm kind of thinking. I have no idea. So what ended up happening was, after the explosion, I'm not really quite sure how long it took the town to come back from that, but all the insurance claims, which were about 1,700 individual claims, they were all paid out for the amount of $1.25 million, which in today's money would probably be well over $25 million. And just one of those stories that, you know, it happened. It made all the newspapers all across the United States and probably the world too. And then we just kind of forget, you know, we forget these things happened, and it's just but now a small footnote in history. And I've always been interested in disaster history because I'm always so amazed as to why I had never heard of it. And I'm sure that a lot of you watching this video never knew that in this area over 100 years ago, upwards of 50 people lost their lives. And this is the final resting place of Ira Woods. This is the man who was on top of the rail car with his hammer, supposedly, that might have set off the spark. Who knows? But, yeah, just a horrible explosion. And I'm surprised that he has a gravesite, because you would have thought that the body was incinerated, but I guess they did get some form or another of his body. Poor guy, only 35 years of age when he died. So hopefully, and I hate when people say stupid things like this, but of course I'm going to say it. Hopefully he didn't feel any pain. And this is his wife right here. And it looks like she lived another 49 years without her husband. All right, guys, just a little bit of history nobody would know about if I didn't talk about, or maybe you would, maybe you already knew about it. I have no idea. But all right, well, rest in peace to both Ira and his wife Manti, and the rest here at this Rose Hill Cemetery. I will be back to do a vlog here. We'll do a cemetery video here soon. I'll be back. There is a lot to cover here. All right, guys, I'm hitting the road. I'm out. Catch up with you on the next vlog. Peace out.